right, round 2 of the playoffs have begun on one-time All-Stars today. We're going to talk Devils and their a little bit of an autopsy, a little post-mortem on the Dev season, what happened, what they can do next. I want to get in the draft lottery, just happened. Islanders won, so let's dig into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk a little bit about accountability, coaches, players. How do we talk to each other? How do we not offend one another while trying to share what we're trying to share with them? And then we'll get into playoffs, just what's going on, what's happened, what we like, what we don't like. And then finally at the end, we're going to get into a little bit of the fun stuff, punch of the week, talking about some of the stuff going on in our lives. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Cool. Let's get into her.
Just dive on in.
Yeah.
What do you want to start? First round in general, Dev's post-mortem after being eliminated a little while ago.
Yeah, we can do that. We can.
That was an either-or question, Bri.
Well, it's post-mortem for lots of people.
Totally appreciated that one.
All right. Okay. It is what it is with the Devs. All right. Let's just go. Let's shoot back and forth here quick. It's,
okay.
It wasn't their year. And,
no.
Fitzy said he tried to acquire some people. I love Dumo. He came over, played really well. Good for him at his age.
How many minutes he played?
I know, and he played great, and that's what he can do. And he can slide up and down depending on the depth of your D and kind of how your team's constructed. But I think they would be wise to sort of look into maybe that steady Eddie. I know they got some healthy or injured D that will be healthy, young guys that probably want minutes, but I don't think you can overvalue what he can bring.
True. Like, so you think they should bring him back, or looking to bring him back, or bring somebody back like him?
Either or. I just like him, and I know at that age he probably he's got years left. He's not that old, believe it or not. He's just played a lot of hockey, but a long couple summers for him will get him. I think he looked great towards the end. He looked good in the playoffs.
Dude, when they got, and I love Dumo, BC guy. Shout out. But he'd had those runs in Pittsburgh, was a huge part of that, but he kind of just sort of, drifted around the last couple of years. He wasn't quite the same, and they gave up a second, I think, in a low level prospect for him, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, they paid that much for Dumo, huh? Like I thought he was just kind of a bottom pairing guy at this point of his career, and he came in, man, and I did games 3 and 4 for MSG, and he was everywhere. Like, he was awesome. He looked like 16, 17 Dumo. So if that's the Dumo you're getting, you can get him at a good price for, maybe short term, 2 or 3 years. Like, I think that would be good. It's just, how many I wonder if they have like too many of the same guy between Pesci and Dylan and Siegenthaler and Kovacevic and then Dumo, like, I know they got Dougie and Luke, but it's sort of, all right, at what point do you balance the steady eddies with the ponies who can go and create? So I think that's what they're going to have to think about.
Well, you got, Kovacevic isn't going to start. That's where you get maybe young guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Yeah, it's they do have a lot of that. I like that they have that because they don't have a ton of that up front. Right? They don't have a lot of just
no. Meyer impressed me with his physicality this round, but other than that,
he's got to score.
He does. He's got to bury, and that's what I thought in the first few games there. He missed some golden chances to maybe change the series early on. I liked his energy and his physicality, but they're paying him $9 million to score, not to run around.
He has
to
do the other things too. He has to continue to do that. You just got to find that, and that's the pressure you get put on you, and whether it's fair or not, if you're getting chances, it's the results when you're getting that money. No Jack Hurts. I thought Nico Bratter, it's a good nucleus of top 6, and then they were worried about their depth, and the depth scoring wasn't there. And Fitzy touched on it in his press conference. He touched on, can we get 12 guys with 10 goals at least? Maybe. And I don't think that's crazy. I mean, 10 at least should be able to get around 10 goals, and a little more from Palat. And I think Cotter started nicely and kind of dipped. I think Sheldon Keefe likes what Cotter could maybe potentially be. Those are guys that need to do more. Palat does a lot of the same too, physicality and He tries to play a hard game. You're paying him for his playoffs and stuff, but yeah, a few guys needed to do a little bit more towards the last 10, 15 games of the year and then in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because they don't have as much cap space as you realize. So they got to pretty much re-sign everybody in the bottom six, or they got to create a new, bottom six or middle six, whatever you want to call it. And to your point, Brian, Palat's got 2 years at 6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look to move on from him in some way? Holla's got 3-1 left. But yeah, I mean, in that series, the depth did nothing. Like they just really didn't generate any offense in that series against Carolina until the end. But like you said, I know they like Cotter. He's actually super skilled.
Yeah.
For him, it's just putting it all together. But yeah, they're gonna have to invest some money. And Luke's coming up. Luke Hughes needs a new contract, so
Where do you
you got to
go
give
there?
him a
These
bag.
guys keep getting injured, man.
That's true. Yeah, that's true too.
Bad
Dougie's
luck.
got 3 years at 9 million.
Yeah,
Do you
he
look to
gets
do something
banged
with him?
up. He's been banged up the last couple of years as well. He plays 19,
Yeah,
20 minutes.
yeah. So they got some decisions to make here with the cap. And to your point, if they bring Dumo back, though, then you got Hamilton, Pesci, Dillon, Siegenthaler, Dumoulin, Hughes. You got to find a place for Nemec, or figure out what to do with Nemec, Kovacevic, and then Seamus Casey's there. Like
Right.
I know you can't have too many D, but at some point you have too many D. Only six can play. So
Right.
um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason this summer for the Devs because I think they're right there, like you said. But like, are they in that next tier of? They're not in that next tier of contender to me. Like there's tier one
No.
and there's tier two, and I think they're in tier two right now.
Yeah. Well,
And you just want to make sure you don't go sideways.
yeah,
Where
glass
like,
half full though. Like they've got assets, right? It's not like they got these guys, a lot of them under control.
yeah,
So, and Fitzy said it's not going to be the same team.
right,
This wasn't good enough. But it's better to try to get better with assets than some other teams that
hmm.
are either stuck because of the contracts they've signed or they've gone for it year after year after year. And they don't have a ton of prospects and they don't have, because I don't think you can just go free agency your way to
No,
contention like Nashville. It's not.
yeah, yeah.
It's not how things are done.
I think you add your final pieces, like your finishing touches in free agency. If you have a good team and then you need a piece or two to get you there, I think that's what that's good for. But like you said, it's hard to find your core, build your team through free agency.
Mm.
Let me ask you something here. I've been spitballing this. Let me sign this. The draft lottery, which was interesting how they did it. Did you watch any of that?
I was not able to. I heard there was some confusion.
I was driving home from the network because we did an hour show before they did it across the hall, and it's happening while I'm driving. So I'm kind of listening. I had it playing in the background, and my dad's just texting me. He's going, "What's happening? This is so confusing. How are they pulling these numbers? Like, what does this all mean?"
Rich is
So I had to
not.
call him.
He's not a dumb guy either.
Guy's a chemical engineer, so I was like, "All right, Dad, let me break it down for you." But I loved there was the clock guy, Thomas. Like Thomas, start the clock. It's like, who's Thomas? Like, why do you have a clock guy?
He introduced Thomas. Like,
This is Thomas. And then Gary, when like he'd get the ball, he'd be like, draw, like shooting skeet, like draw, pull. Anyways, I thought it
a
was kind of funny,
Western.
but yeah, the big win for the Islanders. That's huge
Yep.
for them as a franchise. Now,
Yeah.
here's my question to you, Brad, that I've been sort of speculating on. The kid Schaefer is supposed to be the number one pick, this defenseman Schaefer.
Yeah.
Um, and this kid Misa, maybe the next best forward at number two. I was looking up that there have been 7 defensemen taken with the first overall pick since 1990. Do you know how
Can
many?
I count
What's
them?
that? Yeah.
Well, you got
How many can you name?
Ekblad.
Yep.
Man, this is fun. But the number one pick, right?
Since 1990. So like modern era, I would say.
All right. Power,
Yep. 2.
Darlene,
Yep.
Ekblad.
That's 3.
So there's 4 more since 1990.
Yeah. One more in the 2000s, and then 3 in the 90s, back to back to back.
One more in the 2000s. Eric Johnson.
Yes. Very good. That's 4. Those are 4 in the 2000s, and then 3 in the 90s. Went 93, 94, 95, or something like that. Back to back to back.
93.
Maybe
Roman
94,
Hammerlick
95.
is one.
Yes. Islanders too. Or was he Lightning? I
I
can't
think he
remember.
was Tampa.
He was because their expansion, right?
Yeah. Hammerlick.
We've hung out with one of them
Brian
quite a
Berard.
bit. Yes.
At number 7.
It's a tough
This
one.
is it's pretty good though.
That's good, Brian. That's right.
Was Eric Brewer wasn't first overall.
No, close. Similar mold though.
Oh man. Phillips?
Yes.
Was it Phillips?
Chris Phillips, Ottawa Senators. Okay, so there's your list of number
I'm
ones.
glad it
Way to go,
wasn't
Brian.
too long. I'm glad that didn't take too long. I mean, maybe
Way
it
to
did
go,
take
Brian.
too long. Tommy would know better than me, but in my head, that was fast.
You just earned an extra donut for breakfast this morning. Way to go.
Oh man, not anymore.
Okay, so
I'm 40
having
now,
said those,
Corey. Can't be eating donuts.
seven names, do you know how many, not Norris trophies, how many Norris nominations those seven guys have received in their careers? Like how many finalists were they for the Norris Trophy?
Uh, Not many. I mean, did Darlene get one?
No.
Did anyone get one?
Nope.
No, 0.
Trick question.
Oh
None.
man, I
So
wasn't sure
that,
because Darlene had like 60 something points, but he's in
yeah,
the
he was close one year. I think he
car.
finished top 6 or 7 one year. So,
All right.
anyways, it's a long way of saying my point is that number one defensemen have been good. They've had good careers, those guys, but none have been like transformational players at their position. Whereas you look at the forwards who went one, you're talking Ovi, Sid,
Kane.
JT, Kaner, Stammer, Kinnan, McDavid, Matthews. Like, so I'm just
Yeah.
sort of theorizing, like, is it, and you've developed, you work with young kids, like, is it harder to project defensemen at 18 versus forwards? Like, is the forward the safer bet? Like, should the Islanders think about taking this Misa kid? And it sounds like history says it's a more sure bet than taking a defenseman at one.
Well, geez, what do they need, right? And
I mean, they could use everything, but
yeah, you're right. So who's the best player? And then you have to I just think it's so hard. Like you can have some flaws and growing pains as a top forward
mhm,
in a system where you have good defense and live with those growing pains and ultimately become, because those guys are, I mean, Marty St. Louis would call it calculated risk, but
yeah, right,
it's not cheating the game. It's risk because their talent level's so high that
mm,
coach can sort of live with. Stammer had physicality in his game, he developed physicality in his game, developed becoming a good face-off guy. Um, he did a number of those things. Same as JT. Like he's Tavares is so much stronger on the puck. He gets a ton of points, obviously, but like JT now, I would want on my team more than JT 15 years ago, even though
for
probably
sure. Yeah,
offensively he was better. But now he might not get as many points, but how polished
smart.
he is, how he is in the room, what he can do for your team, I get it.
Little things, right?
But you're drafting an 18-year-old.
Right.
So I guess the long way of saying it is like you can't really live with those hiccups when you're like a number one D. And how many D in the league are on your first power play over the boards as soon as your team takes a penalty, 6-on-5 and 5-on-6, and is elite at it? I mean,
Right.
7 in the whole world right now.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
I think that's the draw of this kid, though. It's like if he can become that, those are incredibly hard to find. So
right,
like you
and then
got to
but
take
then
that swing.
okay, that's his ceiling. Okay, what's his second floor? What's his,
Right.
what's his baseline where you're getting this no matter what? And is that what you want? Like, is
Mhm.
he, because if you're number one overall, here comes all the other crap that goes with it. Like, we want this guy to come in as a 19-year-old, get us 60 points and shut down like the Florida Panthers. Maybe not, but like you grab a Misa and he scores 28 goals and has 32 assists and say, well, he had 60 points, right? He's minus 10. And
Right.
he got the ozone
Bedard.
matchup after like the Bruins third line iced it, and they're tired. Like those are the, so it's a totally different. If you can get that guy, there's just 7
Mm-hmm.
in the world. Do you roll the dice and try? When you have,
Right.
when you have a, I don't know, their D. It really. I
I mean,
think
they
there's
got
enough
Dobson.
D there. Yeah, they have
Yeah,
Noah Dobson,
but he'll
but
be,
he's in that Evan Bouchard sort of.
mhm,
Okay, wow, that was a great play, and then you're like, what was that? Why'd you do that?
squinting at the screen.
Oh man. Um,
No,
and he,
yeah, I think you're right because the three best defensemen in the world this year, I would say, were Werenski, Hughes, and Makar, and they went 4, 7, and 8 in their draft respectively. So, like, if you did a redraft, I'm sure those guys would go 1 or close to it. So, I mean, you're not far off picking those guys in the top 5,
yeah,
10 of the
Makar's
draft.
like a unicorn, right? He played in the
Right,
Alberta Junior League, and then he went to UMass. He's like a Calgary kid.
right.
How does that all translate? Well, he is that good. No one, it's like, it's hard to wrap your head around. This guy's talent will just ascend past any other. He doesn't need to because he's that good.
Yeah,
And
for
we're
sure.
seeing more of those guys now.
Hmm.
So maybe people think that, but there's also, when you have to teach these kids stuff, you want them to keep their confidence and their swagger, but also
Hmm.
understand like you need to learn this. And some of them, what makes them great is like, I'm going to do it my way.
Right.
It's such a fine line. It's so crazy.
Do you
Like,
see that in kids? I mean,
yeah,
they're still 9
yeah.
and
Like,
10, but
so I'm coach. Like, I've coached kids that are just so much better. And a lot of them have just been on the ice more, but they're just
yeah.
so much better offensively and with the puck and skating and edges and strength that I'm trying to teach them how to move the puck, how to find space. They get frustrated. They try to just take on a whole team, and the kids are getting smarter that they're playing against, and 2 and 3 guys will go at them, and then they'll get more frustrated, and then their teammates are a little bit frustrated because if 2 and 3 guys are going at one, who's open? Everyone. Um, and you're
All of
just
them.
like, hey, like move that, and then they move it, and like the kid that they pass to might not handle it or whatever, and
Yeah.
then they're like, well, why would I do that if I can do this? So I get. I'm looking at them like, I was you once, so just trust me. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to do things that you see. I'm just trying to give you options, and um, it's a everyday thing. But the good news is with a lot of these kids that have gotten to be that good, even at this age, they they want to get better, and they don't get down, they don't get upset. They understand that I'm trying to help them because I kind of communicate that with them too. So it's a lot. Number one is a great pick for the Islanders. It's a great
For sure.
success. It's awesome for them. There's a ton that goes with it, and you need to make sure the people are in place that are going to help whoever they pick.
Mhm.
I mean, that's like not even just like on the ice playing hockey games. So
Right.
surround them with the right people, and then also at the same time, don't be in their ear every 5 seconds and make them crazy
Yeah.
either. So it's
Right.
such a hard thing, and
Yeah.
ultimately it's going to be up to the kid.
It's kind of managing like their impulses and their impatience, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're young, you're impulsive and you're impatient. You're like, I want to make something go happen, or like the game's not going the way I want it to, so I'm going to just go do it. And you have to kind of teach them to harness those instincts or like those urges to be like, hey, just let it come to you. Just slow it down. Just
Yeah.
find your teammates. We'll get through this. But when you're that age, and even now, like you said, when you're our age playing, you're just like, I got to go make something happen. I'm freaking out here, man.
Well, so then
Um,
even then, like set goals.
yes.
I even know, like, so I'll go back to the Devs when I was with Heinze. If it wasn't going great, he'd bring me in. It'd be 6, 7 games, just not a whole lot going on, and he just would give me a piece of paper and a pen, and he'd have something written down. And he goes, write down what you do for our team. Like what? Give me 3 things I need you to do every game, and then I'd write them down. They pretty much would match up with his. And he's like, all right, we're just
No,
gonna do that. We're just gonna do that today. And then the game
that's good.
kind of opened up, and you'd get chances and things. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you get so worried about all the things. So you get a number one
Hmm.
pick. I got to be this, that, and the other. You're out doing photo shoots. You're doing signings. You're doing interviews. It's just like I need you to be here. Set
Hmm.
the goals.
Right.
Very, you know, sort of simplify it in that regard because it's not an easy league.
No. It's and the mental aspect too, like you just said,
Right.
the mind games and the mental gymnastics you put yourself through just within a shift or a period, let alone a season or a career.
Mm-hmm.
I want to circle back to you on something you just mentioned with Heinze, but two quick thoughts was that I think the good news for the Islanders is like this is kind of like found money. Like they weren't that awful that they got the first pick and they need to nail it. It's like, we got to hit this pick because we're in the gutter and we got to have this kid come save the franchise. Like they at least have pieces already
Right.
and some
Well, they were pissed they
stability.
were winning games at the end of the year.
Right. So it's not like they're, hey, it's number one or bust because we need the franchise saver to come in and help us. So I think that takes a little bit of the pressure off them where they can kind of be like, all right, let's take best player available, like the kid we think is going to be the best player. And, it's not all riding on him right now. So they can also be patient with that kid. Like if Schaefer gets picked, we don't need you as an 18-year-old to come in next year and play 25 minutes. Like you can go back or, be a little patient. And then you mentioned the Makar story. That was the 2017 draft where the Devs got the number one pick. We won the lottery. That's the Nico draft.
Right.
And I remember, like you said, Makar was a bit of a unicorn. Like no one really knew what he was or what he was going to be.
Nico or Nolan Patrick.
Exactly. But I remember going up to like the offices with Ray for like a postseason meeting or, just for whatever. And like they have their giant, they all have like the whiteboard with the magnets with the names on them. And they had it mostly covered up, but I could see like at the top, it was sort of like Hischier, Makar, Heiskanen. Like those three names were kind of like grouped together.
Yeah.
And then like a separate section was like Patrick, whoever else. So I do think they were really heavily considering Makar, Heiskanen at one. They just, like you said, Makar was coming from Alberta Junior, so like you just didn't really know what he was yet. So I don't know if they were ever really considering Patrick, but again, this could be all happenstance or like those names just happen to be together. But I feel like in my discussions with Ray or whenever he would sort of let something leak, like we talked about last episode, I think Makar was definitely in the mix for that first pick. So that would have been something. I mean, Nico's a tremendous player. So I mean, they didn't go wrong with that pick at all. But Mikhail has just become a different animal now that he's
well, and
matured.
Miro's
And Miro too, man.
I know
he hasn't even played yet.
I know he doesn't get quite the points, but like he's a guy that can neutralize the guys that no one can stop. Like he could skate with a Connor.
Yes.
He could skate with all these guys and just get in their grill. And the fact that they beat Colorado after all the moves Colorado.
Oh my God, I know.
We'll get
here before we get into the playoffs, because we'll jump into that here in a second. But I just want to touch with you. You mentioned going to see Heinze, being frustrated. Like you were a fiery guy. Like you weren't afraid to tell guys what you thought, get in their faces. How did you handle that? Because I know a lot of guys, especially as we got older and the league got younger, a lot of guys would take that personally. Like if you got in somebody's face and were like, I need you, or just kind of yelled or just snapped at him for a second, a lot of guys would like shut down. They thought like you were mad at them or you didn't like them, or even coaches. Like when Heinze would get on guys and sort of scream and yell, a lot of guys just sort of shrank and were like, oh my God, he doesn't like me. And they shut down. Like, how do you view that in terms of like being fiery, competitive, but also motivating, but also being like, hey man, don't take it personally. I don't dislike you. I love you. But like during the game, I need you to do these things. So I can't have you like, withering when you face a little adversity or pushback from me.
Yeah. I mean, I always listen when it wasn't the game, when we weren't doing like actual hockey game time, it was a different approach. Unless I just really I had enough. It could have been something in practice where there was one or two guys you probably heard where I would just either passive aggressively or just straight up yell in practice, being like, "What are you doing?" And that was like somebody who hadn't been particularly playing that well and was given a lot of opportunity. We needed them to do well, and even in practice was just kind of like, nah, it's not going well. And it's kind of like, then fix it. Like, get better today. Take this seriously. It was just, I tried to make it like, if this is a place, we're all in this together. This is a semi-private conversation we're having, but like we all need to be pulling on the same rope. And I remember in Carolina once, and I've told probably the story on the other version of this podcast, but we have a 6-on-5. We're losing to Carolina. And for whatever reason, I always felt that it was decent in Carolina. I'm out there on the 6-on-5 with, whoever is a Bratter and Nico and Halsey. We're all out trying to tie the game. And I come around the net and I kind of just threw one blind. And then they ended up getting it and they went down and scored. And Halsey gave it to me on the bench. There was probably over a minute left or close to a minute left. And he's just giving it. You can't just throw it away there. We had time. What are you doing? Possess the puck. And I kind of yelled back, I know. I was screaming. He's giving it to me. He's like, that can't happen there. Like I might have slammed the door or whatever. And then after the game, he came over to apologize. And I'm like, I wasn't mad at you. I didn't somebody slam the door. I'm mad at me. You're 100% right. And you have to be the guy to do that,
Mm-hmm.
especially to
Right.
me. And if I didn't handle it well, that's on me. Like I screwed up. And then if I'm poopy pants about it,
Oops.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
And he was like, he felt really bad. And his competitive, like, if he had the puck there instead of me, he would have made a play. And like every other game he did that year, it was incredible. But
Mm.
I just, I really was like, I was happy for him that he came and came at me, especially. And I wanted him to do that more because we need that sort of expectations of each other. If we don't even expect that we can do things, like where are we going as a team? So like I just yeah, it was never we had that conversation in West Point before the season
Mm-hmm.
started. Like
Yeah.
it's not personal.
Yeah.
It is personal. The message is trying to make you and us better, but we can't be afraid to be honest with one another. And I still I mean, to this day, I probably don't realize what I sound or look like when I'm saying things because I had kids on the ice last Sunday and I had just seen enough. And kids we're usually on a smaller ice surface. We're on a regular sized ice surface, and the kids are just trying to go end to end. And I get it's spring, but there was the kids that come to our skates. There's different little rules within the game that we play,
Mm-hmm.
even if we're playing a full ice game. And this one particular one was a 2-pass game. You had to make 2 passes before you were able to shoot. And they're all playing different positions. Some are on forward, some are on deep. No, there's no positions. It's just kind of free roam,
Yeah.
battle, compete. There's not really, I'm not calling it tight. There's not a whole lot of penalties. And like everyone's sort of making me angry now because they're all trying to be heroes and they're all trying to go end to end. And one kid tried to go end to end. And it's probably a half an hour into the skate. And I finally just was like, I'm done. And this kid probably didn't make a mistake for the first 30 minutes, but he was the one where I blew the whistle and started yelling at
Straw.
everybody. And
He was a
then,
straw.
yeah, and I spoke to his dad after, and he's like, hey, so I'm like, I didn't even realize because I didn't go back to the kid. He's 9 years old. I didn't go back to him being like, hey, that's not just on you. I thought it was understood that I'm like, everybody stinks right now. Can we start playing like we can play? And they all did. They all started playing better, and it was fun to watch. And I complimented them. But the one kid, I think, took it like he was the reason I snapped, and I didn't even think that way. So I'm still working at it. I'm still working on it, Corey.
Just work on yourself every day, Brian. I
Yeah,
love to
I'm
hear it.
trying to. That
No,
wasn't my
it's
intention, but
no, it's great. I think coaches love that. I'm sure Heinze would love that when you did that because I think he wanted us to hold each other accountable. Because if you're the coach and you're constantly having to hold guys accountable, it becomes stale and you tune the coach out eventually.
yeah,
Part of the reason I brought that up was I don't know if you guys watched that Celtic City documentary on HBO right now. It's actually really good. I'm a sports nerd, so I like watching that kind of stuff. So I'm halfway through, but they're kind of in the Larry Bird era when Larry shows up, and he's a bit of a psycho. Like,
yeah,
he loved it. He was like, I'm going to shoot more jump shots. Like at the end of the game, he's like, I work harder than all my teammates, so I'm the one who's going to take this shot because I know I shoot 3,000 jump shots every day. So like I'm shooting it. But it was an interesting part. They won the title in '81. They had a coach who was a bit of a drill sergeant. They got rid of because he was being too hard on the guys, and they brought in AC Green, I think, or Casey Jones, excuse me, and he's the new coach in '83. And Dennis Johnson shows up and starts giving it to the new coach and just starts like making fun of him or just like talking back to him. And I want to say Robert Parrish or one of the guys grabs him and is like, "Hey, like we don't do that here. Like that's not what we do here. Like stop being a prick. This is not how this operates. So like you need to go like say something to him and like this is not going to be acceptable." So it was just the accountability that they held each other to. It's I feel like I find you have teams that have that and you have teams that don't have that. And I don't know. I've been out of the game too long, but I don't want to generalize. There are still guys who are psychos. Like Nate McKinnon seems like he demands a lot of himself and his teammates, and that can turn
yeah,
some guys off. But I think my overarching theme here is like you can lose guys nowadays if you're too hard on them, or if you say something to them directly, and all of a sudden you're the a-hole. And from someone who I thought was really good at it, Bri, like I said, you might think you went over the line, but like and not over the line, but you like you said, you may not realize how you come off. But overall, it's like this is stuff that guys need to hear. And if they can't handle that or they don't want to hear it, then that's not a you problem. That's a them problem. And there's a difference between being an a-hole and also just being like, hey, I wouldn't be doing this to you if I didn't think you could do it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to do something you can't do and getting mad at you for that. I'm trying to be like, hey, you know exactly what to do and I've seen you do it and I know you're capable of it. Sometimes you just need to hear it this way. And I just find that some guys either just shut down or you lose them and it's like, well, now what do we do? We can't say anything to anybody anymore. So it's just an
Yeah.
interesting dynamic. So I don't know what the rooms are like these days. I don't know if guys still do that or if because now coaches too, it seems like are more player
Oh,
oriented.
they
There aren't
have to be. I mean, even when I
right.
was in Florida, and Quenville was there, and we'll get to him too. But he's like, I can't yell at you anymore. I can't yell at you anymore. I'm like, what? Who's
Yell at me.
why? Um, the other thing is like, it would never be the first conversation that a teammate would have with another teammate. I mean,
No.
there's always positivity. You stay positive, good vibes. It's just when it's not kind of getting through, because you have to understand too, as a teammate, like if your teammate's yelling at you, that 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 can cut a little deeper than if the coach is yelling at you. The coach yells at you your whole life, like right? I don't know. My coach, I got yelled at every year, every single year I played. I got yelled at from a coach at some point. Sometimes I got yelled at more than others, but every single time I pissed off the coach at some point, to the point where in front of everybody I was getting pretty well teed up. Maybe except my very last year in Pittsburgh, where they were just like, look at this old guy.
Senior citizen, they were being nice to you. That's
Yeah,
elder abuse.
yeah, we'll get you next time. You can take the next couple games off. So
Old timer.
yeah, talking to teammates, teammate to teammate, it does cut a little deeper because you're like, oh shoot, is this what everyone thinks? And it's not about that. It doesn't have to be hang on to it and carry it and be like, oh, my teammates hate me. No, you're a player. We need you. Let's go.
Let's go.
Good vibes.
All right. No, all right. No, I like that. I just want to get your perspective on it because I think it's we talk about culture a lot, and that's part of what culture is, to be able to say that to your teammate and not, be offended or not feel like you have to go apologize right away. Like again, if you step over the line, you're like, hey man, sorry, I just got a little carried away there. But hopefully they can be like, yeah, man, it's all good. Like I know you were just trying to do what's best for me. So,
I mean,
all
the
right,
Halsey
no,
one, it was literally,
yeah,
hey, you can't just throw it away. Hold on to it. And me be like, I know. But we were screaming at each other. So it looks different. But those were the words that were said. And I respected the hell out of him for it.
tone. It's all
Yeah,
about your
yeah.
tone, Bri.
I'm
Um,
working at it still.
Well, speaking of, so all right, let's jump in the playoffs here. Now that round one's completed, we're early into
Off.
round two. Um, what are a couple of things that have like jumped out to you, or like that you've enjoyed, or haven't enjoyed, or made you scratch your head, or jump out of your seat? Like, what's been your takeaway from the beginning of the playoffs so far?
Okay. First round's always great. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
And I'll start with the Battle of Florida. I thought Tampa was going to win.
I did too.
Shout out me.
I had him winning the cup in our bracket at NHL.
Yeah, I had them in Vegas. It's not looking great. But Florida did what Florida does. There was the Hagel hit on Barkov. There was the Ekblad forearm, elbow, face to Hagel. Um, I just thought Tampa was trying to fight fire with fire, and I think you're seeing in the second round now with Toronto. Toronto's playing Toronto Maple Leafs hockey, and it's really interesting because Craig Berube's the head coach, but
Mhm.
he realizes that's not their superpower.
No.
Like everyone says, Florida can play all these different ways. Well, when Florida's winning, they're physical whistle to whistle. When Florida's losing, they're physical after the whistle, trying to piss
Hmm.
you off. They'll take penalties. They don't care. They do play a physical brand, regardless of how much skill they have, because they do have a lot of skill. Um, I think Toronto's done a tremendous job. I don't think Tampa did the best job of playing the way they're supposed to play. And Kucherov had some points. He needed to score, take some pressure off the other guys, and they'll go at Kuch more, and the other guys can kind of go. And yeah, it was just a tough one. I mean, hard fought
Yeah.
games, but it looked like Florida was a better team than most of them. With poor New Jersey, they just didn't have the horses.
Yeah. Just
Um,
ran out of gas.
Montreal, that was a fun story. That series, first takeaway was Ovi's. I don't know what his breakfast, lunch, and dinner is, but 4 goals in round 1 is not what I expected.
Mm-mm.
Second takeaway is I didn't realize how much pushback Montreal had. That was a fun series to watch.
It was. It was a gentleman's sweep. It was. They fought. They didn't go away quietly.
Yeah. And then it's I don't know. I'm worried about Carolina. They look fast,
Mm-hmm.
and if they can win series in less than 7, they might have a chance to win a Eastern Conference final game because
Yeah.
they're not able to do that in the last 3 tries.
No.
What are you
Yeah.
thinking?
I agree with. I think Tampa. I think Vasi wasn't Vasi, so I think
Yeah, he
that
struggled.
that that margin there was a big difference against a team like Florida. Like he had to be lights out, I think, to make
Well,
sure they won that
Vasi
series.
and
But
Cooch, right? Those are their 2
and
best.
Cooch, yeah, no goals for Cooch. I thought they did a good job on him, which is I think he's the key, right? They got a lot of good players, but Cooch is the key. And I just was impressed with Florida. Like every time Tampa scored, it felt like Florida scored within 2 minutes, or like
Yeah.
every time Tampa got some momentum, Florida was like, "No, we're going to take that back." So they did an incredible job just within the games of keeping the momentum away from Tampa Bay, which is in a playoff series. Like people talk about momentum, but it's real. Like period to period, game to game, having that energy, momentum can carry you. Uh, Same with Montreal. I think they still need a few things, but they showed me a lot. They're metal.
Yeah.
They're not afraid. They probably need a little more size and a little more seasoning. The
You
East is
think
going to be tougher next year.
Montembeau's the guy?
He's intriguing to me because I like him at times. Like his ceiling is really high. Like when he's on and he's good, he is very, very good. He's one of those guys who can steal games
Yeah.
anytime, but then his floor can drop pretty quickly. Like he can have some bad nights or give up some bad goals, which in the playoffs can equal death. So
He needs to get
I
serious. He gets serious
yeah,
this offseason. He might reminds me of
yes,
Keith Kincaid a little bit, to be honest
a
with
little bit, yeah, Kinker, yeah, just kind of happy go lucky guy who's super talented. So you just got to dial it in and do it every single night. So I think this experience will help him. The Four Nations, he was on that team, um, the playoffs. So hopefully he learns from it and gets in good shape and because he's got the talent. So let's put it that way. I
you.
would ride him a little bit longer. He's on a good deal too, so you don't have to pay through the nose yet for him. Did you know Ovi has played in 1 conference finals in his career?
Yeah,
The year they won the cup.
he only made it past second round the year they won. 18.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
Yeah.
imagine his legacy if he hadn't won that cup. I mean, he'd still be
Yeah.
Ovi, but it's like it's not a great look when you've only made the conference, let alone the Stanley Cup Finals, the conference final once.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Carolina. I feel like Charlie Brown kicking the football with Carolina. Like Lucy's sitting there holding it, and then every year she like pulls it away at the last second, and I go friggin' spinning through the air. Like I've liked them for the last like 5 years, and so I'm just afraid that they're gonna pull the football away from me at the last minute. Because I was talking with Rupper the other day. Like, at what point do the analytics like don't match up?
Oh, thank you.
Like the analytics love them, love them, love them. And even last night, I was sort of saying on our chain, like, God, they're dominating, and then
What
they
did I
don't
say?
score.
Possession wise? They're not, because they weren't
Possession wise.
dominating.
Yeah, shot attempts and stuff. They were game one they dominated in that sense. But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
at what point
They won in
do we get
overtime.
away from the analytics? Love them. They have this expected goals. They have this possession share. Like they got this, and it's like yeah, but can they score? Like can they get goals when they need to? Because goals win the hockey game. And
If I'm
I
a
like their
struggling
depth. I like
goalie, I want to play against Carolina because I'm seeing
exactly.
rubber from far away and out
Yep.
by the wall.
They throw it on the net all the time, which again, over 82 games can win you a lot of games, but in a 7 game series, like this is, are we gonna have
You
the
know how
analytics
many
discussion
times
now?
they
Like,
got out attempted in the
you're
season?
right. Yeah.
16.
How many? 16 times.
So they
Right.
out attempted 66 games. They shot more pucks at than the team
I
they
think
played
across
against.
all sports, like even again, our Celtics right now, just bombing away from three. Like, yeah, over the course of an 82 game season, if you shoot more threes than the other team, you'll probably win. But in a 7 game series, if you have 2 bad shooting nights, like that can cost you the series.
Yeah.
In Carolina's case, like, yeah, you can possess the puck all you want, but you might have a couple games in there where the goalie steals a game and now you're down 3-1. And
Is it stealing a
so
game
again,
when you have 7 shots from the slot?
maybe not,
94
Bry.
attempts, you had 7 shots from the. So that's my point, man. Like
Yeah.
they work so hard.
Hmm. They
They
spend a lot
need
of
to
energy.
adjust. after 20
Yeah.
seconds. And last night, incidentally, they lost the game, but they had a little more patience with the puck last night. So they need to sort of hybrid whatever their bread and butter is, because it is, and it's worked for them, and they win playoff rounds every year. They advance. Not all the way, but they need to find goals that they were like, huh, that was an easy kind of, we got away with one there, or we got a freebie there. Like, they never get a free goal.
No, they have to work really hard for all their goals. And
And
that's
that's why they wanted to bring in a superstar. That's why
Rantanen. Yeah. You
he's
beat me
like,
to it.
why can we get the puck and hold it? We can't play with it at all. It's a hot
Yeah.
potato. It's a ticking time bomb. They want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
No one possesses the puck.
So that's where I think the Nerds can get it wrong in the playoffs, because a lot of their data is based off of large sample sizes. Like we're talking 20, 40. Even the goals saved above expected. Like, give me a break. Like, oh, he was supposed to give
Oh,
up
I
two and
love
a half
this.
goals. I can't give up a half a goal.
I'm so excited
I
right
either
now.
give up 2 or 3. I can't give up 0.5 goals. So like, you tell me what that means. And yeah, was it an OV one-timer from the dot, or was it, you know, so and
Hey,
so's fourth liner on his backhand from the dot shoveling at the net? Like, is that?
they expect to
It's
win 4 times out of 7, but it's like,
mhm.
why don't you try to win 4 times out of 6 or 4 times out of 5?
Right.
If you're that dominant,
So look,
why is
I don't
every
mind
series
analytics.
7 games?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a place for analytics. I think it can be useful, but I think sometimes in short series and the other thing it doesn't factor in is the human element. Are guys nervous in the playoffs? Are guys gripping their sticks? Like, does pressure affect the way you play? Because they are human beings. Like, when you have an open look and you shank it because you're, oh my God, I got to put this in. Like, the analytics can't measure that either. That guys are clutch, or that guys wither, or guys are
You don't
five
think it's
nine
in their
instead of
head that
six
we don't
three.
score a lot of goals?
Yeah, it's
Like,
so
listen,
yeah.
their penalty kill, because I'm not going after their system at all. I'm just like, let's tweak
No,
it, because they are so
yeah,
hard to play against. Their penalty kill
they
killed
are.
off 18 in a row to start the
Hmm.
playoffs. Never been done before.
Yeah.
But the one time they give up a power play goal, they
Hmm.
lose. You got to have a
Right.
fallback plan. You can't just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm with
love
you.
it. Like, let's be perfect. I love all that, but you got to have
And
some gamers.
yes, exactly. Some game breakers, like guys who can change the outcome of a game in one shot or one play.
Like,
Like you watched.
where you just throw the highlight up for us and be like, this is why they won, because this guy just went and did that.
Like
How do you
last night, Connor in overtime, just
Right? How do you
split the
combat
D.
against that? Well, you can't.
You
Try not
can't.
to let him get it.
And I get it's Connor McDavid. There's only one of those, but can we get
Put
guys
Eichel in
who
a
can do that
blender.
once in a while? Yeah. So to your point, Brian, like I like the system and I like the way they play in that sense. But like if they had a track record, like they've been knocking on the door for years. Like we got to the finals and lost, or like we went to game 7 in the conference finals. Like we're right there. We just need to. It's like they haven't
No, they
gotten that
don't go to
far.
Game 7 in the conference finals. They don't win in the
Yeah,
conference finals.
right.
They
So
get
it's
swept every year.
I think you open yourself up to scrutiny when you don't have the track record. So I'm interested to see how this plays out again this year, because I think this might be, I don't say the worst Carolina team, but like probably not as talented as years past. Like you look at their forward group and it's Aho and Svechnikov, and you're like, all right, there's some other good
They
players
got
in there.
Halsey and
Jarvis is good,
Stankoven that fit in nicely in that group.
right? But they're not like
But you need 6 goals from
A-list
Martinick.
players, right?
Is that what you're counting
So
on?
I feel like they've had
Jankowski?
some better. You have no Natchez,
Natchez.
like they have no. I keep saying that name wrong. Um, Yeah. So, anyways, it'll be interesting. So, and then yeah, out west,
Wait, Ottawa.
the old, yeah, exactly. Um,
I think Ottawa's going to be
the
good.
old Oilers, man, are they going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
Edmonton? No.
Yeah, with Cal Pickard
I mean, good for him, though, right? 10
winning
teams.
more playoff games than I ever did. So good for him.
He's 6-0.
I know.
Is he 6-0 or 5-0? I think he's 6-0.
6-0. Yeah, they're on
Do
a
you know who
6-game
else
heater
do
since
you
he
know
came
who
in.
else has done that in Edmonton Oilers history? One guy.
Not Skinner.
No, I mean, you got to think about the one guy.
Grant Fuhr.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
started 9-0.
Jeez.
Throwing stats at you today.
Love it. Stats day.
Yeah, Cal Pickard. What a comeback, but like you can't cross check guys in the face. And they killed it off.
They did. I watched that. After they killed it off, I kind of went to bed because I was like, all right, Vegas should win now after killing a 5-minute major
I
off.
had to watch this morning. I was going to sleep last night, but they killed off a major in overtime. You can't do that.
Yeah.
There's so many like wire crossing moments in these playoffs.
It wasn't even that close either. You watch, you're like, that's even Dave Jackson on the broadcast, the referee guy was like, that's a 5-minute major. There's no puck. There's
Oh
nobody
man,
around. He
that's
just cross checks him in the
supplemental.
neck.
We got to
Yeah.
supplement that discipline with some more discipline.
And then Kelly tried to like soften. He's like, oh, I think he's trying to get him in the chest, and he just missed. And it's like, yeah, why are you cross checking guys in the chest in overtime? I don't know.
Yeah, was the puck there?
No puck. Puck was
It's
gone.
kind of like go get the puck.
Yeah.
Real quick, Callie was dynamite. I thought last night. I never really. Now I guess because we're in this arena of broadcasting, I was listening. I mean, I want to shout out Callie. I mean, obviously I know Callie and we played together and
Sure.
buddies, but I thought he was fantastic last night. You know,
Yeah.
even if you can't say Vegas correctly.
Vegas. He sounds Canadian, even though he's from upstate New York.
Vegas.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with how quickly he sort of moved up. You know, it's like he got good really quickly. Because as an ex-player, it's hard. You got to learn. Like even if you think you're good, it's challenging. And I think he's done a really good job of, you know, he's not. You don't notice him for the wrong reasons. Let's put it that way. You know, and then he brings up some good points and some good insights because he was a captain and played in some big markets and big games. Like I think that experience and insight is valuable when it comes to the playoffs. So
yeah,
he has been doing a good job. I think.
Been there. I just thought his delivery last night was tremendous, and maybe because it's exciting
Brought
and
it.
it's a playoff game. But that was
Vegas gets you going, man.
Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
Love it. Yeah, you know what I thought? So they were my Western Conference team, and only because like I love Dallas so much, I just didn't think Dallas was going to get through Colorado without Heiskanen and Robertson.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they did, I don't know how they're going to lose. Might be in Dallas for the Cup final.
I know that I like Vegas a lot. For some reason, I haven't been as high on them as everyone. I remember last year, even you were like Vegas in the finals after they'd won the cup the year before, and then everyone like Rupper and a lot of the guys in the network are like, "Oh, Vegas in the finals, like winning it." And I think I had them losing to Edmonton this round, to be honest, because there's
not sold
something
on
I don't
Hill.
know. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just like
he's not the guy that won him the cup.
He gave up 2 wristers last night.
Yeah, it was one kind of went through him, right?
Yeah. Those are backbreakers.
So solid, and that's contagious with your D. You keep everyone outside.
Yeah,
it frustrates
the
other team.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Now, but when you're opposing that and you know the guy's leaky, you'll take those cross checks and get to the middle just to try and get something through. Yeah, I don't know. I worry about them now. And then they fought back so hard that like those backbreaking losses to go down another game. It's just such
going to Edmonton too.
Now. Yeah, it's such a different
because they're so good in Vegas.
Yep. So
yeah,
Edmonton's
I'm a little nervous.
Pretty good, which is great because their stars are the best.
They are those two guys.
Probably the MVP in my opinion, in Draisaitl, and then the best player I've seen in my lifetime. Up close in Connor.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is that they've kind of held them in check. You know what I mean? Like they got the game winner last night, but they didn't score in regulation.
Well,
they
that's why Edmonton's
2 points.
Dangerous.
Right, they had 2 points each in game 1. They didn't do much at the end of the LA Kings series, statistically speaking. So their depth
on the heater.
That's what I mean. If their depth is actually scoring and winning games for them, like Connor and Leon are going to go nuclear at some point.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
and their D, you're seeing the good parts of their D and not the warts right now. You know, you look at guys like Bouchard. And even Klingberg,
Wallman,
giving them good minutes. Wallman with a goal. And Darnell, if they just simplify and just first pass and hit the net.
Just
first pass,
just tighten.
Yeah,
I didn't say lose weight. I said tighten.
Yeah.
And then no Ekholm, like probably their best all around here, defensive defenseman. Like no Ekholm. Imagine if and when he comes back. Like
we'll call him stalwart.
And again, stalwart. Yes, a bastion. What's it called?
I don't know.
Oh, we don't really like root for teams. You might root for a guy or a guy you know or a player, but like
we might root for cities though. We might root for cities.
That's true. In this job, you might root for cities wherever we have to go. I would love to see Connor and Leon win one. Like I think it'd be a shame if they didn't win one. And it's not like I don't think they're chokers. I don't think they're under, like they've always delivered in the playoffs. They just haven't gotten it. So like I wouldn't be upset if they got their cup, because I don't want to hear the story about them at the end of their careers being like, well, they never won a Stanley Cup. And it's like,
I don't think there's
these
a
guys are
way
so
that
good.
they don't
They're
if they
so
stay
good.
healthy. I don't think there's a way
They're
they
just
don't
so
make it.
good. Yeah, and there's nothing to dislike about either of them. They're not like bad guys, or they don't cheat or play the game the wrong way, and like
I
they're
mean,
just
there's a
point
lot to
producers.
love
Like
about them.
that's what I mean. So it's like it would be good for the game and them, I think, if they could get one, whether it's this year or not. Um,
Yeah.
it's got to happen before they start, getting older or get hurt, or things happen in the back half of your career that you just can't predict. So
Are you? Are you? All right, we'll stay in the West, and then we'll circle right back to Toronto. But is this the best performance we've seen in the playoffs so far from Mikko Rantanen in terms of like
oh
call the last 10 years? I know
yeah,
Kane, Vander Kane had 14 goals one year through a couple
did,
rounds, but
did
I
he
just
really?
think, yeah, like the
Jesus,
last 4 or 5 games from Rantanen have been
stupid.
outrageous.
It's not even the performance. Like I think Connor and Leon too have had some stretches where it's been like, oh my god. I think it's
Yeah,
just
they
more
have.
the moments, like a hat trick in Game 7, and then a hat trick to open
Yeah,
against the President's Trophy winning team on the road. Like that's incredible. Like the three was it 3 or 4 game stretch he's on right now.
I think he's on a four
Might be one
game,
of
14 points, 8 goals, six
yeah
assists in four
yeah
games
might
in the
be one of the best
playoffs.
stretches of all time. Yeah. Again, against not like the 8 seed Patsy,
Right.
cupcake. It's like against the Colorado Avalanche, who are wagon, and the Winnipeg Jets, who won the President's Trophy. Like these are good teams,
Right.
and it's crazy, man. This is why they got him. This is what everyone expected, and it takes time. It takes time to get it settled in and figure it out. He's had a whirlwind of a year. I know Joe Sakic kind of said like, well, we can't pay 3 guys that much money. It's like, yeah, you kind of can if they're that good. You figure it out.
I
You
mean,
don't let those guys leave.
Edmonton looks pretty good right now.
Sure does. Yeah, and Toronto, they're looking pretty
Yeah.
good right now too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why they just didn't want to pay him. I know Kale's going to get a bag, but like, I feel like they looked across the bench in that series. Colorado was like, man, sure, I'd love to have that guy on my team.
Who's this guy? He's pretty
But
good.
he's pretty good. No, he's been more dynamic than I thought at times.
Yeah.
Before it was like, oh, he feeds off Nate and McKinnon sets him up and he snaps it in, and a
Hmm.
big guy. But like those goals against Colorado, like leading the rush, putting one off
Yeah.
the bar and in, weaving through guys. Like it's been he's been more dynamic than I'd realized at times.
And I think he's realized who he is. It's tough when you
Yeah,
go to different rooms and you have to sort of fit in on a personal side, and then you don't want to ruffle feathers, and that's just humility,
right.
right? And then you got to, I don't know if someone has to grab you or Jamie Ben's like, dude, whatever you want, just do it.
Mm,
You're our horse, and that's what he
right.
was. Especially
Yeah.
with Robertson out, and it takes different guys different amounts of time. It's his third team this year. Wow, man, it's like it's so cool to see, especially without 29 dishing to him in Colorado.
Hmm.
I'm just so
No,
impressed.
that's why I love the playoffs, because guys do this kind of stuff. It's like this is
Yeah,
the time where you sort of see what guys are capable of and what they can be pushed to do. And yeah, I hope he keeps it up. I hope it's not just like a 4 game flash that he can. He's not going to keep producing at this rate, but
he's not gonna get a hat trick
um,
every period, but
well, that'd be
he
nice.
looks dangerous, man, and that's like the
Hmm.
stories that or the storylines I want to cover. It's that first
Yeah,
round, I was so happy Winnipeg won because it was kind of sad to see what was happening
yeah,
in net for them, and
uh-huh.
just getting through that, I thought, oh, that's going to be huge for Hellebuck to kind of maybe that's a
And he looked
jumping
better.
off point. He did, yeah,
He-
totally, and like we need him for the Olympics.
yeah,
Like team needs
and I
him.
think he's it sounds like Hellebuck's like a very mentally focused, or like works a lot on the mental sides, but sometimes you can overdo it, especially as a goalie. Like
Yeah,
sometimes the less you think, the better. Like go stop it. Don't overthink it.
yeah.
Don't think your way through the game. Read and react. You have to think. Your brain has to be on.
Is there like
But
where
if
are my
you're trying to be
hands?
like,
Where's my this? Where's my
right,
instead of like the
that's
shot?
that's yeah,
Oh
it's
boy.
death. And when you're in your stance there at the face off and you're like, oh, I gotta wait, my blockers, oh, I gotta pull it in a little bit. Wait, is my glove in the right spot? Like that's the worst place to be. And I feel like sometimes he can get
Wow.
there because he is so cerebral.
It's like a tee
So
shot.
hopefully
It's
that,
like me on the
yep,
first tee with a driver in my
yeah,
hand. Like, all right, is my
exactly.
left arm straight?
So hopefully getting
God.
past that first round just like takes a little bit of that weight off them and allows them to free up and just go play.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it'd be a shame if this series gets decided because the goalie can't stand up. That's a
Yeah,
Simpsons
totally.
reference. Um, but
Toronto. Do
yeah,
you think they're legit?
Toronto, man, I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna see what happens in Florida. I've been impressed. Uh, I thought they did a great job in games 1 and 2 against Florida. I was honestly stunned. I thought Florida was going to win game 2 and tie it up the series.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens in game 3 in Florida because it's not a series until the home team loses the game. Uh,
Yeah.
I still think they have that Toronto in them somewhere. It's
Like, would
it's
it
still in there
shock
somewhere.
you? Would it shock
Mm.
you if they lost the next 4 games?
No,
That's all I'm asking.
no, no. I'd be surprised. Like, you can't let Florida win both these games. If you let Florida win both at home, and all of a sudden they're feeling it and they come back into Toronto for game 5, that's a bad spot to be in if you're the Leafs. Like, you have to win one of these games.
Yeah.
Keep them down on the mat. Don't let them get feeling good because all of a sudden it's all right. We're back to where we need to be. We got this. So they may not win tonight. Is it tonight? Um,
Yeah, I think so.
but I think they got to win one of these 2 games in Florida to have a good chance. And that sounds stupid. Like, yeah, obviously going on 3-1 is a good chance, but like if they lose both, yeah, they're playing tonight.
Yeah, they both
I think
Dallas,
they're in a lot
Winnipeg,
of
and
trouble.
yeah, Toronto, Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're in a lot
They,
of trouble if they lose both these games in Florida.
totally. I think this is the biggest game
Yeah,
tonight.
I like them better. I like Chief Berube. I think he's done a good job
I
changing
like
their
them better too.
mentality,
Yeah.
focusing them, like you said, getting them to play their game and not getting sucked into their things or being something they're not. So I do like them better this year than I have in years past. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Me too. Give them some credit.
What would you do
And
if
they've
we had a
done it with two
Toronto
different
Edmonton
goalies.
final? Yeah, that's true too.
What would I
That is
do?
actually huge. Yeah,
Oh, well, dust off the old passport, I guess.
just all the TVs in America just shut off.
I know. I don't think that would be good for ratings.
How were the Edmonton fans? Were they obnoxious last year, or they were just happy Canadians? Because I feel like
Buddy,
Leafs fans are kind of painful.
it was electric. It was
It
so
was
awesome
okay.
in that building.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
All
great.
right.
They were
All right.
awesome.
Sometimes fan bases can piss me off. So,
Well, I
all
mean,
right.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I hear you.
Not them though.
You've been heard.
They were fun.
Not us, am I right?
That's right, buddy.
Um, yeah. So no, I'm excited to see where this goes. It's been great hockey, great drama, great matchups. I think that what I like too this year is like the 8 best teams. I think advanced. It wasn't like some random upset where an Ottawa snuck in and you're like, all right, they're not one of the 8 best teams, but they got hot and they
Yeah,
won. Um, there were very few upsets in the first round, which is
I
a
was
little
upset.
surprising because I feel like
I was a little confused with
every year
LA.
somebody gets through.
LA kind of
Yeah, I thought LA was good
puked
enough
on
to win.
themselves.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's what maybe they weren't good enough.
yeah, that's true. And then, I mean, their year as a whole was good. I don't think many people
Yeah,
picked them to make the playoffs. I think Minnesota
right.
deserves a ton of love right now.
True.
So, Boldy, that top line was ridiculous. They
Oh,
gave
yeah, we talked
everything
about
they
it
could
last
handle.
episode.
Yeah.
Kaprizov, stud.
So good on them. And you're right, though. It's good hockey.
Uh,
Hopefully it's
real
longer.
quick, yeah, real quick before we kind of get to the end here and do the end things. I just want to get your take on Sully in New York. I know you played for
Yeah.
him in 2 different spots. Uh, what's your take on him in New York? Like, how do you think that's going to go? How do you think it's going to fit? How do you think it's going to do? Because I have a few
Uh,
thoughts too, but I want to get you because you know him better.
yeah, so I had assumed he would talk to everybody as soon as he got the job, and it's been reported that he has done that. There's
Hmm.
enough talent there. The players need to commit, and I think that
Hmm.
what we've seen in the past is the first year they will, and they'll buy in, um, and then they kind of go back to doing what they do. They need to defend. They don't defend. He'll make them
Hmm.
defend. His message is very clear. He's not like a big up and down guy. He's pretty
Hmm.
even keeled. 5, 6, 7 game win streak. Same meetings, same critiques, trying to get better. I think
Hmm.
he's great at putting people in their position where they're going to be the most effective. And whether guys agree with it or not, he's like, this is what's going to make you the best version of you for this team right now, you need to buy into it. And I think he's great. He's a great communicator in that sense. He's a good teacher. I'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with his staff. I think the previous regime staff didn't do Lavi any favors.
I
Lavi's
heard
a
a little
loyal
bit of that
guy,
too.
and I like Lavi a lot, but he
Yeah.
needed some help, particularly on the D side, I think, and
Mm.
because the D just
I heard
kind
that
of
too.
their growth is stunted. They haven't gotten much
Yeah.
better as a group.
Mm.
Like you look at a Schneider or a Keandre, even Adam
Right.
Fox. So they all
Plateaued a
need to
bit.
take looks in the mirror. All the players do, and realize like the magnitude of what just happened and why they had to go out and get Sully. And I think they had to move on from Lavi. I think they were going to do an extensive search, and then I think they were surprised that Sully became available. So at that point, it was a no-brainer, and I think it was a no-brainer. He was the guy.
Yeah.
Great hire.
No, I agree with that. Now, as I'm wont to do, let me play the other side of that coin.
Oh, you got to throw some cold water on it. I love it.
Well, so again, I love Sully. I like the way he coaches, I like the way he carries himself. I like the way he communicates. I got nothing bad to say about him all. I think you're right. I think this is the guy. Hasn't won a playoff round since 2018.
It's tough to
The
do when you
Pittsburgh
don't get any
Penguins.
saves.
Well, Pittsburgh Penguins finished 30th in goals against, 32nd in chances against last year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm not knocking him or his resume. I'm more saying that if people think he's going to come in and he's not a miracle worker. So I think Drury is going to have to make some changes to that roster. As you said, it's on the players.
Yeah,
I think if those guys come back the same way they did last year, it's not going to matter who the coach is.
Right.
So I think, again, I like Sully a lot, but because he had some good players in Pitt, but like you said, didn't get the goaltending. He had to deal with Erik Karlsson on defense a little bit, but he had Sidney Crosby and some other good players, and they still just couldn't defend. So to your point, he's got to really tap into his culture building and communication skills and get these guys to outperform what they've been doing. And I think they do need to make some changes. They're not young anymore, right? They got rid of the last few years, Buchnevich, Hedel, Krabstoff left, Kako's gone. Like a lot of their youth has sort of disappeared. They're kind of an older team right now. So they're different than Pittsburgh, but not too different in some ways. So it hasn't gone well in Pitt the last few years. So
No, that's fair. That's totally
got to do something.
I just think, Mika had his worst year. He needs to really commit. Adam Fox has to really commit. He was a shell of himself for much of the year. Towards the second half,
even though he put up some points, I didn't realize how many points he put up.
He had a lot of assists, and then he started scoring towards the second half and end of the year. I look at Panarin's great. I think Trocheck is not going to play 23 every night, every situation. It's just too difficult. I don't know what they're going to do with Kreids, but he was hurt and banged up, and so you didn't get nearly the same. Everybody had their worst year pretty much up front. And, Lafreniere signed a big ticket, and he needs to get in the gym. Fox needs to get in the gym. Keandre Miller needs someone to tell him who he is and what he's capable of. And I guess what he's not, but what he's capable of. And that's you got Schneider, you have Edstrom will be back. He's 6'8". I think Will Cooley's a great player. They have pieces. They just have some contracts that are a little bit iffy. But
so I guess my question to you, Bryce, is do you risk running it back with all those guys expecting different results just because of Sully?
I don't know how you. Do you move a guy just to move it, just to change it? They did that with Trouba and Goudreau, and that was Cap stuff too. But it's going to be tough for Drew to.
Yeah,
I think move the guys he might. I don't know. That would be. Oh, let's just get rid of him and bring in this guy because we'll have all this space. That's
right.
Well, there's a reason why we haven't moved him yet. But,
so I guess that's my concern is if they try to run it back, you're sort of shuffling the chairs on the deck, and then just with a new coach, it'll work because Sully's here. It's you better. That's hoping a lot of internal improvement or guys bouncing back, which is Kreids ever going to be the same? Is Zibanejad going to be the same?
No, he can't be. He's going to have to be better. He has to be.
Yeah, I know he does. Just Willie.
I don't know. I think a new voice will help. I think he's already starting to communicate with them. They are I'm not going to call them a sensitive bunch, but that was a soft team this year. They were fragile.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and you can't be. You need to not be that way. Not all
Fragile.
players like Troch isn't. I don't think Panarin is. I think that he plays a certain way, but I'm not going to call that guy soft. He does so many unbelievable things.
Yeah.
He came from nothing, and has just been an incredible player for them.
Mm.
Schneider played through some injuries. Like guys, they'll bounce back. I hope they do. I mean, that
Yeah.
was a tough year to even just to
That
cover
was
it.
bad all around.
Yeah,
Probably much to the glee of Devils fans.
and Islanders.
And real quick, just touch on it. Quenneville going to Anaheim. I know you played for him in Florida.
Yeah,
Just want to get your thoughts real quick on him coming back in the league.
yeah. Let's line up. What Anaheim has, and I'm not saying they have what Chicago had at the beginning. They didn't, not. I don't know if there's Duncan Keith. I don't know if there's Patrick Kane. I don't know if there's Jonathan Davis. But
Right.
there's excitement with,
Sure.
Even a guy like Zegras who's come a little bit. But I mean, you have Leo Carlson. You have Olin Zellweger. You have Jackson Lacombe on D. You have Gauthier.
Turned into a stud at the end there, Lacombe.
Yeah, he scores like all the time.
Yeah, he was on Wyatt's fantasy team and lighting it up.
Nice. Gauthier, Mason McTavish. Like, they have these young pieces. You have a couple vets that Q will probably lean on, and Killorn and Gudis and, Vetrano and
Gruba.
Yeah, Trubes, Terry. They have a number of pieces. They jumped up 21 points. You got to give Greg Cronin some credit for that, man. They were a difficult team to play against, and they adjusted in game. They had some comeback wins. They beat some good teams last year. So are they really meaningful games? I don't know, but they played some. Maybe they played some meaningful, or at least they bought into the system. And then Q comes with his pedigree.
Right.
Again, I think a lot's going to be on who he hires within his staff, because that's a lot of young guys that you need to sort of usher along and make sure they get their communication. And Coach talked to me today, and I feel good about myself. So that's where the game is.
Now, are you on with Crow today on the network?
I was yesterday, and I believe I'm on again today. Yeah,
with Greg Cronin. I don't know if he'll say much, but like, since he was just there, and I'd be curious to hear his take on.
He's on the full show today.
Okay.
That's an easy show.
So is it for you guys?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That seems like a lot of people on that show.
It is. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested to hear now that Quenneville got hired, like what his take is on how that's going to work in that fit. Because, yeah, I mean, he's not polarizing, but obviously everything that happened that led to his departure in Florida and now coming back in the league. But by all accounts, is a good coach. Like, he's put everything else to the side. But it's been a while. It's been a minute. Sometimes it's hard. You've been out of the league 3 or 4 years. Games change, players change in that short amount of time. So I'm just curious to see if his older school mentality will translate well to a young team.
I mean, he tried to adapt even Florida. He's like, I can't yell at you anymore.
I remember saying that a little bit. Yeah.
He's open to different things. He just wants to win. He didn't 969 wins in the NHL. I don't think it was one way for that amount of time, and then it just totally was a 180, right? I think he's always sort of adapted. And he played. So, yeah, he's hopefully they know who he is, though, too. That mustache is legit.
Mustache.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, lots to talk about. So glad we were able to sort of rifle through that as quickly as we could.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Punch of the week on your mind? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
It's a tough week. So no punches this week, because
no punches.
Sometimes you got to remember everybody might be going through something. You never know what someone else is going through on that particular day. Just keep that in mind sometimes when you're out there in the world, these crazies. Who's your punch of the week?
Hug of the week.
Hug of the week.
I got a couple, not a couple, but I know we hammer on it a lot, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the driving thing, I did 7 straight weekdays at the network. So last Tuesday through Wednesday of this week. It's Brian. I think it's time we throw people in jail who drive in the left lane slowly. Like, I told you, it's time. It's time. You have to start jailing people. Like, you will spend a night in jail.
The worst in Connecticut.
If you were going slow
in the left lane.
In the left lane, please. You need to be pulled over. and go spend a night in jail and think about you driving. I just can't take it anymore. They can't be on the road anymore. I'm not trying to be like a maniac. I'm not trying to do 90, but like that wretched stretch of highway up 95 from, like New York to Connecticut. It's taking years off my life, Brian. And it's not even the traffic. It's the traffic's, it is what it is. It's the driving. And I'm going to start self-policing and put a little thing in my car and just pull you over and be like, go,
Can't do
you're going to
that
jail. Go.
because then
Like
you will go
Monopoly.
to jail.
I know I can't impersonate a police officer, Brian. So I've gotten to that point that it's time
They
to really
stagger
hmm They
like the
box you
one,
in. It's
and the
like
one in the middle is going 57 and the other guy's going
or like a
57.
truck. There's an 18-wheeler in the middle, and the guy in front of you is doing 58, and you're just boxed in. You're like, well, I'm gonna eat this one for a while,
And then
and then
it's
you
like, all right,
try
you
to shoot the
finally get
gap on the
around.
truck. Yeah, and they
And
lay
then
the
they're
horn
like,
on you
they
because
get
you're
off
shooting
their
the gap.
phone. So then they hit the gas and they're like, no, you can't go in front of me. What? I say, pardon me.
Ah,
It's not a
ah,
race. It's not a race.
mm-mm. I'm not trying to do 90. I just want to do like 75 to 80 to get home because I want to
Yeah.
get home
You got
in
a
a
nice
timely
car.
manner.
You got to let it
Thank
go.
you. And exactly. Let her breathe a little bit. Open her up. And everyone's kind of doing that. It's the pace of play, like golf. Like, hey, let's move along with the pace of play
Listen,
here. Like,
you
just
want to get
be aware.
me angry?
hmm
Slow
Pace of
golfers.
play.
Slow golfers.
I still think one of the best nicknames of all time was Sammy Patton in the human rain delay.
Oh
Just
my
between
God.
cards and golf, like the slowest moving human
You,
being you've ever seen.
if you were 1 inch behind him,
And I love Sammy.
you'd hit. He would look at you until you'd hit. So then you'd hit, and you'd look at him, and then he'd take his gun out, and then he'd tell me the yardage, and he goes, "What is that in meters?" Because he doesn't know what yards are.
It's finished.
So then you'd tell him what it is in meters, or whatever. I'd make up
You
a number.
take your phone out, convert it.
Then he'd put his glove on. Then he'd do his routine, and then he'd hit. And I'm like, you got to play faster with his tournament bag that he had. By the way, remember? It wasn't a
Yeah.
regular golf bag. It looked like
And
he's playing
I
in the
mean,
Waterbury Open.
at least he was a player. Like he was like a
Yeah, he was
low
good.
handicap
He
player.
was
So I
good.
mean, at least you could live with it to an extent. But yeah, I didn't play with him as much as you guys did. I just heard stories of it. So everybody out there, like, let's play ready golf. Unless you're like in an event or like you're playing for some serious stakes here and you got to think about it. Like, get your shot lined up while the other person's going, step up to your ball and hit it. Like, let's not do the whole Sergio Garcia. We're gonna like fake it and touch it and pull it back. Oh no, still warming up.
If
Okay.
you lie 7 in the bunker, take an 8, go to the next hole.
Yep. Exactly. Let's go.
I'm going for the
So that
green
that
at
was a
2. Get out of the way.
that turned a bit of a double punch. My other punch, I don't know if I'm just gonna the airing of the punches here.
Keep going.
I'm gonna take yours for you, Brian, because
You
you
go
were
pow, pow,
very
pow, 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 pow.
uh, neighbors, nosy neighbors.
Oh God.
Um, we're we're renovating a house in Fairfield here that we're going to be moving into shortly because that's what we do. We're like hermit crabs. We like to skitter to house to house. Um, and this woman who we've met throughout the process, she's gotten to know our contractor and our site manager more because they're younger guys. They're actually really good guys, and they've had to deal with this woman. And so there were a bunch of giant pine trees between our property and hers. No fence. There was no fence. We put in a nice new cedar fence to like block us off. It just got installed, so it's raw cedar, no paint, no stain. She texts our site manager because she's got his number. This fence looks horrible. They need to paint it dark green. They didn't close the gap at the end. Now animals can just get through from our yard to theirs. Like, just texted our site manager this, and the guy's in Italy. He went on vacation for a week, so the main guy was taking over, and he sends us this text, and we're like, "Is this woman serious? Is she for real? Like, you need to paint it dark green? Oh no. We don't need to do anything, ma'am. No. We'll paint our side whatever we want. You can paint your side what you want." And just like the audacity, it was like, "Excuse me." So of course our guy told us because he works for us, and we're
Yeah.
we're kind of friends with him now. So like Jill being she's very good at like telling you to go pound sand to your face, but like doing it diplomatically. So she sends this text, and the neighbor reaches out to our site manager guy, was like, "I didn't think you were going to tell them. I didn't think you were going to send that text to them. Like, why would you do that?" And he's like, "Are you serious?" So anyways, just neighbors, again, if you got an issue, that's fine. I get you got to like be respectful, and you can't just do whatever you want, and you can't just be an a-hole, but like, just talk, just speak normally, just have a conversation. Let's be neighborly, like that whole thing. So
Yeah.
anyways, nosy neighbors. I just
Neighbors
want to
can be
I don't
fun.
want to punch a woman in the face, but nosy neighbors as a whole, I would like to punch in the face.
I live in a
So
HOA in a golf course community.
how's
Um,
that? What's that like?
it's
I mean, I
been
know what it's like, but I mean, neighbor wise, like, does everyone get
no,
along? Or you
neighbor
guys like,
wise, it's been fine. It's good. We had great neighbors, and now we have new neighbors who are seem to be great too. They renovated though and had a big dumpster in their
mm-hmm,
front driveway, so you just kind of got to deal with the trucks coming in and renovating, which is fine.
mm,
And
yeah,
no issue. Our house is a circus, anyways. Kids are running in. Cal doesn't wear
right,
clothes anymore, so he's in the backyard naked half the time. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so Declan gets home from school and he's like, "Mom, the dumpster outside's on fire." Anyways, Declan
Oh,
saved the
a
day.
legitimate dumpster fire,
Dumpster fire.
an actual.
I'm like, "Oh, look, the Rangers." So they they call they call the fire department. Comes out. Declan's like watching. He's like, "Can I be out here with you guys?" I'm getting all the photos because I was at the network, and apparently the fireman looked at him. He goes, "Did you found this fire?" And Declan's like, "Yeah," because they weren't home. He goes, "You just saved your house and that house over there from going up in flames, and this one." And he's like, "Oh." And then, the people were just like, so thankful, and
Yeah,
got Declan something for his efforts. But Declan gets that night he goes and on his own grabs these like gloves that we clean really dirty stuff with, and goes across and he goes, "Can I help you?" Because he saw them cleaning up all the debris, and he's like, "Can I help you
for
guys clean
Debris.
up?" And I guess the dad, whose name is Brian, also looks at him. He just says, "You saved our house from going up in flames. You are not helping us clean this up. Thank you."
What
Proud
a good
dad
kid,
moment.
though.
Proud dad moment. I
Yeah,
was happy
you're
for
nailing it, Brian. From
him.
one Brian to another.
Yeah, I wouldn't have probably thought to go help clean. I probably would have watched him clean, but he got that from his mom. I was pretty psyched about that. But yeah, neighbors.
That's awesome. Way to go, Declan.
Yeah, if there's an emergency, I just would like my neighbor to
Hmm.
use the same grace, and that's all I really
Hmm.
need from my neighbors.
Love it.
You can call me out on my crap because I'm sure I'll bother. I'm sure I'll bother the neighbors more than they'll bother me with all my situations going on at my house.
The shenanigans.
Yeah,
Um, that's funny. Good for you,
paint
Declan.
paint the
Shout
fence
out.
pink, Schneid.
I should. I'm gonna paint the house. Just we told him to just graffiti their side, just like Banksy it on the other side. Um, and real quick before we go over, I meant to ask you, Utah Mammoth, yay or nay?
Yay!
Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
mammoths.
Good logo,
Yeah, it is a good logo. It's
solid
cool.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good for
I'm
them.
in. I'm in on the
Even the
Utah
fans
Mammoth.
picked it, didn't they?
I think so, pretty much. Yeah. Once Yeti was out,
Tell you what, this Ryan Smith is really endearing himself to the people of Utah.
he is. He's a fun owner. He seems like a fun guy.
Reinvesting money into the ranks.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm sure he's not going to
Not
lose a
bad for a
bunch on
Mormon.
that eventually, but is he officially? Is he?
I have no idea.
No
I
drinks,
just
no
assume
drinks.
everyone in Salt Lake City's a Mormon.
Yeah, I guess.
I just picture Book of Mormon, the Broadway play. So I know nothing about it.
I figured he would.
Yeah,
Cool, man. What
absolutely.
else?
Just enjoying the rain. Not much, man. Just yeah, grinding through playoffs. Been working a lot lately and got this move coming up, so that's always not stressful.
When's the move?
Don't officially know yet because they got to
Oh,
get the
okay.
CO on the house first, and we're simultaneously trying to sell this house. So it's like I said,
Always
it's a
nice to carry
fine
more than one.
how to thread that needle. Oh, the needle we thread on the house movement. So, and you know how we operate. We kind of just
I do.
as we go, as we go. Hey, go with the
Yeah.
flow. Doing the
Writing
bull dance.
checks. Writing
Yep.
checks.
Snapping necks.
Cool. Yeah. Well, before we record next, I will have had probably at least Declan's birthday. He's the 19th.
Hey, that's right,
Mother's
May.
Day.
Busy month. Yep.
Happy
And Bella,
Mother's
right?
Day to all the mothers. Thank you for
And your
being
mom. Or
better than us.
and Lauren too, right?
Yep. Yep.
You got a busy month here, friend. A couple of weeks.
Yeah. Bella, Lauren, Declan all had birthdays and Mother's Day.
Good God.
Yeah. We had a first communion for Bella.
Hey, I saw that. Congrats.
Yeah. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there
Yeah.
because we won't have it until that happens. So thank
Mhm.
you all for what you do for us.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
All right.
Cool.
Well, guys, enjoy some playoff hockey, will you?
Yeah. Tommy, how we do?
I was not totally with us the whole time. I'm on a job site right now, trying to I'm
All
like
right, let's
hiding
wrap it
in
up.
someone else's unit.
All
I
right.
saw you've been renovating. Is that your house or
No, I got a job working for a builder.
nice?
There you go.
Are you that handy? I didn't realize you were that handy.
You
I'm
kidding?
more of a project manager.
Project manager. Okay.
Yeah, but you can
If
do
you
it.
walk with purpose with a tape measure on your belt, no one knows anyways.
Mm.
You
I
just
do
throw
it
a tape
sometimes.
measure on, you just buzz around.
Yeah,
I was
just to
talking
feel
about
like a
that with.
man
I think we've talked about this, but I was talking
at
with
Home
Rupper the
Depot.
day after the show that if you just wear a suit, half the life is like acting like you belong there. Don't say
Mm-hmm.
anything. Don't give yourself away. Just act like you belong. Nod, wave, and just keep moving, and nobody will stop you.
That's true. I found that to be true.
Yeah, like you can get into NHL arenas just with a suit and just giving the old hey.
Well, I mean, you played.
True, but
And you
like
also
if
have a
somebody,
thing that can get you into every NHL
I
arena.
know, but like literally, I feel like if I showed up at a random rink without a pass, like you have like a 50-50 chance of like getting in.
I have a
It's kind of
100%
like,
chance of getting in.
hey, what's up? Hey, bub. Oh, hey, how are the kids?
How are the
Just keep moving.
kids?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, are we going to win
Anyways.
tonight? And then you go in there.
We're gonna. There he is.